Hi, this is Donnie Eisenbach. I'm an elder care expert, and what I specialize in is independent and assisted living care. And my main goal when I write my blog posts and when I do these videos is just to help people prioritize the most important things when considering putting their loved one in an assisted living facility or independent living community. And the way I do that is I just point out some pretty obvious things, but if you're not thinking about these things, you can go through one of these walkthrough tours of an assisted living facility and really be blinded by all the great amenities and the benefits some of the amenities of the facility offers without really thinking about the quality of care options that oftentimes are not being presented in the sales tour. Or they're just kind of pass by those things without even bringing them up. And just some of those things that I'm talking about are like the care worker to resident ratio. A lot of times these facilities, especially if they're larger facilities, what they'll do is they will run a skeleton staff, and the reason they do that is the easiest way to reduce the quarterly budget at these facilities. And when you can reduce the quarterly budget, the managers get paid huge bonuses, and that ends up being a big percentage of their overall salary for the year. And one of the easiest ways to do that is just to run the facility with less care workers instead of actually trying to find ways to cut the budget through materials and resources and waste. They just fire a care worker, or maybe they have a bad care worker, so they fire them and they never hire a new one, and then the staff is run on less than adequate support. And what happens is these staff are usually paid minimum wage or close to it, and sometimes the background checks aren't done, and that can be a problem. But when you fire the required number of care workers at an assisted living facility, what ends up happening is it leads to neglect and abuse, because a care worker can only care for 30 residents for every one care worker for so long before they just snap. And what can happen is not everyone gets taken care of, and things get forgotten. Medication overdoses occur. People get their wrong medication that was supposed to go to somebody else. I mean, some really bad things can happen. Alzheimer's patients who are supposed to be moved to maybe a type B care facility, something that's a facility that's really for someone with major memory disabilities, but they're left at the type A care facility, which they're not supposed to be at, because people aren't letting management know that some of these residents need additional help, or maybe the management does know, but they like that additional revenue, and they could wander out onto the street because there's just not enough care workers to pay attention to this, and they could wander outside the facility, get lost on the sidewalk. There's just all kinds of things like that could happen. One of the quickest ways to determine if the facility that you're considering is a good facility is meet the actual care workers as you go into that walkthrough tour. Actually meet them, because a lot of times they'll get by that law by saying the management in some of the offices count towards that care worker count number, but in reality these managers may have never even lifted a finger to actually do any type of care work at that facility. So you could have 70 residents and 2 care workers to take care of what they advertise as round-the-clock care, like changing soiled clothes, getting these residents into a bath, getting them to the Med-Aid counter to receive their medication 3 times daily. I mean, if you got 70 residents and you only got 2 care workers, how often do you think all of that stuff's going to happen per what you were sold during the walkthrough tour. It just doesn't happen as often as you may think. So just to avoid that neglect and abuse, I just go over some real common sense things that can help you make the right decision when you finally pick that care facility that's going to work out for your parent or your loved one. Well, I hope this video helps. I mean, these are just some real simple steps to start off with, and maybe just to get you to thinking about what are the priorities when picking a elder care facility.